Failure sounds massive to me. This is not just one thing, it's a combination of errors, mistakes, some good decisions, some bad, but in the end of the day, emergent property was devastating failure.
If you're failing, fail fast. So just go for it.
But I also, at some point, felt like I failed the world.
We need to learn how to reframe the failures, because even the word failure, we need to rebrand it because it feels so bad. Do you have any tricks of how to rebrand these failures?
In the first case, if it already happened, the best thing you can do to yourself is recover fast, meaning start to move, start to talk to people, and while you do this, admit that you fail, go in the depth of this very uncomfortable place, and think deeply because your memory is the freshest. You will find the things about yourself. So in the very beginning, the idea was a Burning Man economy, but everywhere.
How can you define failure and how to not miss it with mistakes or errors?
Ooh, great one.
Hi, welcome to Successful Prompt. Today I have a very special guest, Xenia. She graduated from Minerva University where CEO of Netflix just jumped to studying, founded her startup to get transparency to charity, in free time teaching kids AI, and she's just an amazing person. Welcome, Xenia.
Thank you so much for having me here. That's the honor.
Thank you. So you finished Minerva University. Tell me more about it. You traveled all over the world for different semesters, right? You studied in different countries, different continents. How was hard to get there? Tell us more about this university.
Awesome. Your last question was about how hard it is to get there, and it's actually a quite unique one. They have no tests required in comparison to the traditional Ivy League universities. The reason why they have this is because they don't believe that just a regular SAT that you take once is a great enough assessment of your knowledge, because it captures you on one day only. You might develop more knowledge, and it also doesn't really capture how you think, how you reason, and so on. And even though they do not accept the tests, they have their own unique assessment model that takes you quite a few days to go through. And at the end of the day, they take on average 1% of the applicants then. I think that all of the Minervans have very similar DNA. If you ever saw Montessori kids, they have their own independency. It's a different system for younger kids. Minerva has the same thing. You really can recognize in public who went to this university if you know how to check. And the experience itself was one of the most unique things you can do in your early 20s, because it literally rewires your brain. You don't only live in South Korea and then the next semester in Argentina and then the next semester in India, developing local roots, seeing how social economical factors works there, but you also get your degree during this time, meaning that when you write your assignment, you use local examples. When you write assignments, we are evaluated not just by the mood of the professor, but by very specific criteria. For example, when you wrote this hypothesis in the arts and humanities class, did you consider those confidence intervals? So every Minervan is very proficient in programming as well, regardless of their degree, what is their concentration is. And everyone is really systematic thinker, who is also very ambitious and wants to change the world. So that's what I would like to say about it.
Cool. Wow. Sounds like university of my dream and not only mine. So do you feel that this program or university rate shaped you in the way you are right now? What the main lessons you learned from this university?
One of the lessons, very specific one, was at my statistics class. We were learning the concept of counterfactual scenario, and the professor asked me, what would happen if I didn't go to this university? And I answered that, I probably would take an average of 100 people who had the similar demographics and other variables as I did, but they didn't get into university, and what were their pathway, and the average would be me. My professor stopped me there and he said, that it's incorrect answer because counterfactual scenario doesn't exist. That's kind of the whole concept of the statistics. And to me, I would say the person I am right now, I'm definitely in a huge amount if impacted by my university to the level that I can't even imagine who I would be the other way around.
So you created your own class of ethics AI, right? So what was your mission there? Like, I can't imagine myself to create my own class in my university. Like, it was just impossible. So was it like everyone could create it, or like, yeah? So you lead it. So you actually like teach this class, or how it was?
That's an awesome question, and I really like how prepared you are, because it's indeed a very unique aspect of our university is that every student in their last year has a chance to create their own course, and depending on the success of the creation of their course, this course can be continually studied in the next years. It just continuously updated by the new students that arrive each year and want to take this class. But you do this together with your professor. In my case, it was philosophy professor, and I was a computer science degree, meaning that I was specifically bringing the ideas that were technology related, and she was challenging them from the ethical standpoint. And we designed the whole curriculum, every assignment, every assessment, how questions will be asked. Students who also participated in this activity had their own classes created. And yeah, in the end of the day, we created a full 4 credits course that was counted into our degrees.
Wow, cool. So about the professors and mentors, did you find any like mentor or framework which helped you to guide your decisions?
I definitely relied a lot on the very unique network Minerva provided me with. If we talk specifically about that period of time, I also launched my startup during my education. So both of my capstone advisors were also my startup advisors on the way. And we also have a very, I think I said a word unique so many times. You can count and write and comment, and probably Anastasia will give you something for this comment. But it's very unique that many professors in Minerva University have extraordinary careers that they're probably still building. And one of my big friend and mentor is not only my business professor, but also an executive at Delta Airlines. And every topic we learned with her, she had the most amazing, very practical examples that I remember back in time using in my interviews to get internships, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, how do you know all of this?" And it's just because I had access to people who knew this, kind of the first source learning. And the framework, everything was framework in Minerva. Whenever you try to present something, you need to always consider the audience. And when you consider the audience, you think what kind of reasoning they appreciate. Is it appeal to logos, logic, or ethos, pathos, authority, or emotion? When you see Minervans talk to each other, they all talk in the concepts and frameworks rather than just, abstract things. Very systematic thinkers.
Cool. I know that today you're pitching on AI female founders event.
Yep.
And you're like, yeah, part of the panel. So do you have any tricks how like public speaking and don't be nervous?
That's a good one. I have a friend in New York. She is old lady, but she has a girl energy in her, and she is a very active speaker. She goes to Asia, Australia, all around the world, and she taught me that you need to do two things: make them learn something and make them smile. Because I think when you really enjoy the conversation, enjoy the listening experience, you remember better. And back in time, I was in Charles University in Prague. It was right after the war started, so I was presenting the study on how the movement of Ukrainians was around the world, and I was walking down this big audience, and it was the middle of the day. Everyone was tired, and I just screamed like, "Everyone, close your laptop! I need 5 minutes of your time," and those people were like PhD level. They didn't expect me to do this at all, and the reason why I did it because I knew that capturing their attention, even for one simple message, is more important than give a very long topic that will end up being boring and they will not remember anything at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it. I really love it. Because, yeah, I remember when I pitched about Monitor, like my ex startup, I was so nervous. Like on my first pitch, I was so nervous because I was really like bad prepared because I actually like finished my um, pitch preparation in like an hour before the actually like yeah the pitching. So I was just like bad prepared, and then for the next one I took like much more time to prepare. And I'm big fan of Alex Hormozy. And he mentioned on one of his like podcasts that yeah the trick is just to be well prepared. So when he launched his like first book, someone asked him like, why are you like so calm and not nervous at all? And he is like, you know what, so I just prepared for like 30 days 3 times per day, so I already like pitched it for like more than 100 times, so I know like all potential questions, I know everything what could be like go wrong, so I just like yeah prepared well for it. So yeah, that was his secret.
I can't agree more with you. And I think this is exactly what makes people in sport um, extraordinary is
Hmm.
the consistent preparation. You just wake up at 5 a.m.
Hmm.
It gives you already 3-4 hours in advance in comparison to your competitors and gives you a chance to have 4 rather than 3 workouts per day. And if someone even wants to prepare and really beat you in something, they cannot compete with you by preparing for 2 weeks because
Hmm.
you did this routine for months and years. But honestly, I struggle with this, with the not even consistency, but just, knowing what are those 3 things, for example, I need to focus and do consistently every day. Yeah, it's a great and important skill of prioritization I'm still working on.
Okay, so what is your 3 things you're doing every day?
3 things I'm doing every day. Sport. I really think that nothing helps your um, resilience, mental health, discipline more than having the time for you doing your workout, grounding experience, and just make your brain free.
Hmm.
The second thing is I always try to have a full meal in the morning and in the evening because when I was a founder in the hustle mode, I either
So
ate a
important.
lot, I did ate nothing, and you also need to take care of your body. So you see
Hmm.
all of my 3 things actually related just to ensure that I'm creating a body that is not going to sabotage me in the very important moment. And the third thing is a great sleep. I'm a very simple person, but 8 hours of sleep is a go-to. You do know that I didn't have them today, but usually yes. Like you probably will never see me
Hmm.
having less than 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah, love it. Trying to follow these rules as well. As well.
But they're very simple. But I
Hmm.
think like the reason why we repeat them is because as simple as they are, people don't follow them, and they can't even imagine how different life is if they do this just for 1 month.
Hmm. Yeah. So on third year of your university, you joined FreedomCode, and your partner told me that on like graduation party you worked till like 3 a.m. and almost didn't have a sleep, and yeah, you were so busy with your startup. So tell me more about it. But you actually joined them not as a founder, right? So you actually joined them as a regular employee. So what was your job like? Yeah, why you were so patient and busy with it?
Guys, this is the biggest preparation I've ever seen. Talking to my partner. Oh my God. I am a lucky one to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Um, how I joined. Um, that was the end of the third year. I was going through interviews with smaller and bigger companies. It also was a layoff period in the US. I was stopped right in the middle of my Google interviews for a PM internship just because they stopped having any of those. So it was quite a turbulence in the air. I also had my Indian semester. So I also was in a different time zone, and there was no opportunity for me just to come in the office, knock, and tell I want to work for you. And I had my internship back in time. I talked with my ex boss. I shared the situation. He also was interested back in time in the blockchain, and I knew something. And he called me actually just to ask my opinion on it. And I shared something with him, and he's like, "Oh, I do know someone you might want to talk with him." Spoiler: it was my co-founder. We had a chat, and I remember it was one of the most in-depth conversations you can have with someone when you have the first conversation, because we talked about the life trajectory, about the pivotal moments. And I remember clearly stating to him that the thing that I'm going to work right now is going to define my future. And it was very literal. It's exactly how it happened. In the beginning, he was actually just looking for the right partners, the right team to work on this. And I was obsessed with the PM just because I've studied in San Francisco. You, of course, wanted to be a PM. And I was like, I'm going to join only if I'm going to be a product manager. I was so unreasonable. I just had this kind of cliche and stigma. And yeah, he was like, you do you. In 1, 2, 3, 4 months, I started to take more and more responsibility. And eventually, we had some kind of presentation. We updated our pitch deck. And yeah, in the discussion, he offered me to become a co founder. We also, at that moment, started to have our technical co founder. The team was growing. It also was not like a small startup at this moment. We already had like a team of like 4 people working on the product, 3 people working on the marketing. We already were on the way to get like investments. We were in the final talks with them as well. So things were really serious, and that meant so much to me. And I remember I wrote on my bottle from National Taiwanese University, because I was in Taipei at that moment, the date. I don't remember the date though, and the fact that I became co-founder. And one of the reasons I became is because I really willingly were wearing many hats. I'm sure many people had similar situations how they became co-founders. They just meant to be, they were created, they have very high ownership. But this ownership was the reason why when my mom was visiting California for the first time, it was my graduation. I didn't have a chance to talk with anyone to actually even comprehend that I have the end of this chapter of my life, because I was all locked in. We had like this grant, this project with our client, this project with our other 5 clients. I managed everything. I made a very closed loop on me. And also before that moment, I was not located in SF. I was located in London. And I decided, why not just keep all of the calls at the same time? Do not reschedule them. So yeah, I was waking up very early, starting my day with the calls, finishing my day with the calls.
Crazy. So what was the startup about? What did you build?
So in the very beginning, the idea was a Burning Man economy, but everywhere,
Okay.
and with the focus on the local solving of the problems. I'm pretty sure if anyone is going to have a walk today around their region, their city, they're going to see that there are either homeless people there, or not enough space for kids to play, or there is actually a problem that there is a hunger, or not clean enough, or ocean is dirty. So you daily see things that you do not even know how to solve. But I do believe that we're already in the pretty abundant world that we can solve this with our own resources without just relying on a big guy coming or government financing this or something like that. So the idea was that instead of just having a GoFundMe, having someone who reports the problems, describes them, community decides that yes, this is what we want to focus by either offering financing this or being a volunteer there. With a big enough usage, we could make those clusters that is, for example, focused only on like 1 mile radius. So you literally know what you work on. And local businesses, instead of just being grateful to you, offer either free coffee for you or some kind of discount in their grocery like market, something. And you have this like loop where people always incentivized to do something good, and businesses are incentivized to give even better offerings because they attract paying audience, because those are the people who actually financed all of those projects. And you ended up every day having such a big clarity on how you can make your life life of your family, life of your neighbors better
Mhm.
with the most easiest approach. As you already can see, when you want to do a burning man economy, meaning there is no profit margins.
Mhm.
So as good as it was a bit too philanthropic. And for something like this to be adopted, you need to have big marketing budgets. You need to have absolutely the most secure technology. So all of this personal data, all of this flow works
Mhm.
properly. So it requires investments. Um, as we already had a chance to quantify all of these good deeds in a great way, we
Mhm.
decided that we are going to do an AI driven enterprise resource planning system, but we called it more like B Corp nonprofit resource planning system.
Mhm.
And yes, this is how we actually ended up launching, even though we had our previous mobile apps rolled out already. But yes, ERP is the one that got traction with the clients.
Mm.
And we had, I'm talking for so long, but you see, I still care about this startup. It means so much to me. But one of the things that I'm most excited about is that one of the nonprofits that benefited a lot from our system back in time, we're so grateful that they became so efficient that one of the dogs they rescued, they called Frida.
Frida.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly, in the name of Freedom Code. And the dog still lives in United Kingdom where our startup had a headquarter.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Amazing. So, what do you think was like the hardest in building the startup?
No experience. If I had some experience before in building something, shipping something 0 to 1,
Mm-hmm.
I definitely would not make that many mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, if you would start your startup from scratch right now, right? Maybe something new, what would you do differently?
As you could see, I had a problem that I didn't realize that if you want to attract external funding, you need to have a very clear pathway to revenue. So I would
Mm-hmm.
have much bigger focus on profitability. And to me, a sustainable change is the real change right now. And I also would see how I can become profitable in 3 to 6 months, meaning that I would focus not on ambitious, difficult to track problems, but start from something small, but seeing where the trajectory is going, because I do see quite a few productivity tools in Silicon Valley right now, all small solution to something very specific. And I don't think this is fundable because this is not big enough market. So I would either do the reverse engineering or start with something small and brainstorm how I can grow it fast and huge. But yeah, I would just like make sure that I see how it can be monetized fast.
Okay. And as a founder, how you would evaluate your outcomes by the effort or by the results?
That's a great question. I think, and it's going to be a hot take, to me, efforts mean more because when people put their time, all of their
Mm-hmm.
resources, their soul, at some point they will see what led to the great outcomes and what didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But it's much more important just to have this habit to go all in, to care enough, to work hard, to have amazing work ethics, than just count the outcomes because they ended up in many times be a vanish metrics or something that you don't even remember because you remember usually your pathway somewhere much more than just the
Mm-hmm.
final point.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you see any like superpower was revealed in you by building this startup?
I became much more ambitious. I was an ambitious person before,
Mm-hmm.
but when you get a founder status, you have those wings
Oh, yeah.
and you can fly. I
Mm-hmm.
learned how to fly, and I was flying in the very social impact direction. I
Mm-hmm.
never thought it's exactly what I will do in my life, but it's actually like it actually rewired my brain. And I'm currently a person that always thinks about social good
Mm-hmm.
in no matter what I do. Um, and I think it shaped me to the point when on my last birthday, my friends were giving me like gratitudes and wishes
Mm-hmm.
and everything. Everyone, one by one, told that they never saw such high ambitions being combined with such big warmth.
Oh, wow.
When like I don't want to be successful to have my ego fed. I want to be successful because they trust me using this for social good.
Okay, but while you flying, right, it's like super high, did you had this fear of falling down, and like lost everything you built?
You don't think about it. if you, and I don't think it's right to never have a contingency plan,
Mm-hmm.
but honestly, I only saw the light in the end of tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't believe that failure is even possible. And I
Mm-hmm.
think from the moment of the realization to the actual failure, it
Mm-hmm.
was like 48 hours. Do you know this movie thing when they give you the snapshot of something bad happened and they just like 2 days before, like
Mm-hmm.
14 days before? So it was kind of like this.
Mm-hmm.
It happened so fast that it could be even like tracked. Definitely many things happened before, but in the moment I noticed,
Mm-hmm.
I was right on the edge. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
really curious about you and your startup.
Yeah, to be honest, yeah, I felt like I'm in a train and I for sure know where it's going. And I was like, I know, like I was super sure and I was flying as well. But then at some point, when I felt that like we're running out of our savings and we get some traction and we need to fundraise right now, or if I will not fundraise right now, I need to like search for a job and yeah, just join other startups as an employee because yeah, I need to pay for my rent and everything. And I had this fear of failing, and I even felt it like if I will not fundraise right now, like I have run away for like I don't know, like 2 months, for example, I will fail as a person. I even like I know I felt that like the startup became a part of me,
Yeah.
like my I know like part of my body, like I know as a baby, and yeah, I just like I didn't even consider that like yeah it's just a business, it's just a startup, and like we are separate. But yeah, I just felt that like if I will not do something, like yeah, I will fail as a person. But actually, when it happened, um, it was so different. I didn't feel that I'm a failure. I felt that like yeah, it's an amazing experience. I have to take like a lot of knowledges and lessons from it and move forward. So I felt like, okay, not this time, maybe next time, but yes, like new chapter. But actually, yeah, it took time to get to this point because yeah, it was like super, super down, like bottom, and then yeah, you just need to like raise your yeah wins again, and just like
100%. And
yeah.
to me, this unavoidable identity crisis is unavoidable only when you worked on something that was actually exceptional. It's a good sign. You know, you miss someone because the time was good. You have
Yeah,
identity crisis because the product was good enough for you to start to identify yourself with it.
yeah, yeah, I love it. So we both read the book, right? Kind of wrong. So, what is your favorite type of failure?
Inability. If you talk
Mm.
about causes of the failure, because
Mm-hmm.
there's different types,
Yeah.
and I think intelligent failure is obvious the best one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But in the causes, I liked inability
Mm-hmm.
because I think um, when you do something you actually not on the paper is ready for, you
Mm-hmm.
come into this territory of new. It takes courage, it shows personality, and it shows those characteristics that I really like in people.
Oh, okay. How can you define failure and how to not miss it with mistakes or errors?
Ooh, great one. Connotation and the length. I think failure is something you need to recover from. I don't feel like you need to actually recover that much mentally from something like error. Error feels like typo to me. Then mistake is something you did without even thinking you were doing something wrong, and you just like, oh, yes, I had to do this differently. And
Mm-hmm.
failure sounds massive to me. This is not just one thing, it's a combination of errors, mistakes, some good decisions, some bad. But in the end of the day, emergent property was devastating failure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agree. Yes, the book shares a core idea. Not all failures are equal. There is three kinds: basic failures, preventable mistakes from lack of knowledge or process. Complex failures arise from unpredictable factors or multiple causes. And intelligent failures, your favorite trait, occurs in the pursuit of new knowledge, where risk is taken internally to learn. When freedom codes shut down, which type of failure it was?
Definitely was a preventable one as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be preventable if we would listen carefully enough to the external feedback, because we're going to the conferences, we're speaking, we're talking with our customers, and it was not even that we trusted our gut more than that feedback. I think we were just busy as any founders to not process what people were telling us. But I also think it's kind of was meant to be thing, um, meant to fail. Even in the beginning, right now, I do see some of the decisions that in the first months were leading us to the failure. We just couldn't realize it back
I
then.
feel that we need to learn how to like reframe the failures, because even like the word failure, we need to rebrand it because it feels like so bad
Yep.
and depressed and like I know you failed. Like okay, like that's it. But actually, yeah, we just need to take all of these lessons and transform into like knowledge. And as you said, the hardest to start the startup was like because you didn't have like any experience. So take this experience and go further, right? Do you have any tricks of how to like rebrand these failures?
That's a good one. Let's talk from two perspectives. The
Mm-hmm.
first one, failure when you're a startup founder.
Mm-hmm.
And for example, you probably care about how to reframe it because you already failed, or because you're close to fail, or you're just afraid of failure. So let's have two answers. The first one for someone who already failed, and the second one for someone who did not fail yet, but just afraid of this. In the first case, if it's already happened, the best thing you can do to yourself is recover fast, meaning start to move, start to talk to people. And while you do this, admit that you fail, go in the depth of this very uncomfortable place and think deeply, because your memory is the freshest. You will find the things about yourself, your team, your approaches in the best way. This is the biggest teacher of your whole life. And if you miss out on those like 3 months after the failure, this is like a lost return on the investment from this failure. Like,
Mm-hmm.
go straight into this. And if you're afraid of the failure, so you
Mm-hmm.
didn't fail just yet, think about the exit plan. Just having this is going to already create the very important piece on your mind. And the way I would probably do this, in the end of the month, I would have my one day where I write down each win I had as a company personally, deliverables, the most tangible, but also some of the learning experiences. And after this reflection, I would just like phrase them in 2 3 words and capture them in my private data room, because I'm sure many startup founders lost so much of their materials just because they closed the domain name. They don't have access to email anymore, and they just can't open all of those platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So transfer this to your Gmail address. Have it with you forever, because
Mm-hmm.
you will have opportunities when you want to show it. And while you are with all of this founder's energy, just have this teeny tiny dream on the side, this counterfactual scenario that doesn't exist. What would you do differently? And you will be so grateful for you, in case you will fail, that
Mm-hmm.
you had this plan in your mind.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I think, like, yeah, my favorite lecturer in Stanford told me that if you're failing, fail fast.
Mhm.
So just like go for it because you need to like check if it's working or not. So even it could be like, right, like, yeah, I know, like fail with a startup and just like close whole startup and business, it's like yeah huge failure. But actually you can like fail with like pivoting, so you can like pivot from one idea to another one. So if you see that this idea doesn't work, just like go for it, test it, and then pivot. So you failed with this idea, but you can still like take all of this knowledge and move forward with another one. And I think it's like super important skill, to be like flexible enough to pivot from different ideas, but still have this knowledge and stubbornness, to stick with one, but you need to really pick the right one. It's super important. Um, do you have any failures for what you're actually like grateful for?
All of them.
Mm.
Not all of them sincerely grateful, but I try to make myself
Okay.
being thankful for them. I
How?
how um, I just started to tell different stories to myself,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very important to tell them to yourself, not to people. Don't lie to people to start to live different life, but
Mm-hmm.
actually start to look from different lenses on the situations you went through and start to find positive things. They definitely are there. You just didn't put your attention there just yet. And just train your brain never um, being sad about something. I know it's another hot take, but I'm really a huge believer that the sadness is the choice,
Mm-hmm.
the struggle is the choice,
Mm-hmm.
and going through the failure is the choice. You
Mm.
actually can wake up after the biggest problem, mistake, wrong solution,
Mm-hmm.
and take only good from this. You just need to make a choice to do this.
Yeah. I even feel that like sometimes I know that in therapy there is one trick when you can just like jump back to your memories and kind of like fake them in good way. So you actually just like you remember your last memories about the situation, and if you will just like reframe them, you actually will have like different memories, and different like attitudes to this particular situation. So yeah, maybe you can use it for the best. Did you try to do something like that?
I'm very dual person in the
Mm-hmm.
way that it makes sense for me to not change anything about yourself and be unapologetically yourself and own your own story, even if it was not comfortable at every moment.
Okay.
And also on the side of, but what if my goal, it would serve more to never have this experience? In this case, how can I um, play with my brain and make my brain believe into different reality?
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that they also can come together, because only when you accept that you became fully conscious about your past, you can go into this big picture and just like, okay, these two things, I don't really like them. How can I work around them? And yes, in this case, I would actually go through this. I've never tried, but I'm very open minded. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you even inspired me right now to see what I can do.
Okay. Yeah, try it. It worked for me. So try it. Yeah, in this book, The Science of Failing Well, Emmy tell a lot about psychological safety environment, and that's like the importance of it. And yeah, I fully agree with it, because if you have the environment where you can't even like say that you face with these failures, and like detect any errors and show them, or like ask maybe like stupid questions, but because you are like junior and yeah, you just like you jump to new territory, and when you jump into new territory, there is no way you will not fail. Like, yeah, if you're not failing, you're not jumping to new territory, right? So, yeah, did you feel that like in your startup it was a psychological safety environment, and you can share like yeah all your thoughts,
Out of
transparency?
many work environments I were in, my startup is the one that taught me that psychological safety exists.
Mm-hmm.
I had the most understanding team, and I think my such fast growth as someone who was looking for summer internship after the third year to the co-founder was because my co-founder, the CEO of the company, was the one who never limited me. And to be very honest, I even think he was silent when I was making a few of the mistakes, because he wanted me to go through this whole cycle. When you
Mm-hmm.
learn from the mistake, you own it, and you admit it and you go into the result and you solve this and you become independent, someone who can actually run the business, not just follow the instructions. Yep, 100%.
Yeah. I really feel that, yeah, like sometimes you actually need to make these mistakes, to study on them. And with AI in our day-to-day lives, I feel that it helps us to avoid a lot of errors and mistakes, and maybe on scale failures as well. So what do you think about it?
AI as a day to day tool or
Mm-hmm.
as a kind of second brain that prevents you? In which way?
I think both, because you actually can use AI as your coach, right? Even with your like therapist, but yeah, it's different. Yeah, or even analyzes like basic mistakes and help to like catch them in the right timing and yeah, just fix them.
I was in the event in New York last week. I was
Mm-hmm.
talking with a lady. She was sharing her experience, how she was trying a few new AI tools, and she also tried to hire this person. And one by one, she was sharing experience as how something didn't work to her. And she was sharing this in the reply when someone was suggesting to her that, oh, probably you should do this or that. I was
Mm-hmm.
listening to her and I realized that she is a very great example of the person who failed something not because the idea was wrong, the execution was wrong. So
Mm.
I think even creating a database of failures and AI being a guide wouldn't be the best, because in the hands of someone else, this
Mm-hmm.
approach is actually the rightest one. So I think in which AI actually helps is that it gives you some things you would never have on your mind, and this idea in combination with your own personality and your past experience can create this emergent property
Mm-hmm.
and can lead to the solution. It also can lead to the failure, but I do
Mm-hmm.
think we just have such a higher speed right now of the design thinking, iteration, delivery, that in the end of the day, AI is just body that
Mm-hmm.
helps us to use our lifetime to have, instead of one big failure, 25 big failures, but also 100 wins instead of just like two or three of them as past generations used to have them.
Yeah, cool. Um, I mean, for example, maybe AI can help. For example, you have like corporate job in big tech, right? And you manage like one project is like chain of a lot of different projects, right? And maybe AI can help there, to like automate just like really like small mistakes, which will not bring maybe to like big failure, but still yeah, they can change a lot. And yeah, how do you see the failures in like big tech and like corporate jobs as well?
Um, in my current role, I'm running New York office of 300 people team
Mm-hmm.
that works a lot with the legacy system enterprise companies. And when you talk with the decision makers there, many times they're not going to be so open to AI, or even to some less tested idea. They would better go to McKinsey, Accenture, because if something goes wrong, and when you innovate, when you do something new, everything goes wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to be the one who will be blamed. There is no psychological safety. They want to say, oh, I went to the best guys in the market.
Mm-hmm.
And if they couldn't do this, meaning no one could do this, that is not true.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the way the brain, I think, works there. And that's what I noticed, is that people don't want to solve the problem, they just don't want to fail. And this is the wrong variable to optimize all of your work for.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel that you closed your startup, right? So do you feel that it failed at some kind of way?
Mm. I feel sad that we couldn't achieve what we wanted to achieve, because I think it would definitely make the world better.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when I was finishing it, I also felt like I failed myself as you had, but I also, in some point, felt like I failed the world. But to be very honest with you, I also think that it's a bit of something that helped me to discover narcissistic or some other parts of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in the end of the day, it was just a small project somewhere on the planet Earth in this timeline. But the effort is what counts. Someone on the planet at that moment actually really wanted to do something good. So you see, even already right now, I'm telling myself a different story. But back in time, I was like, what I'm going to tell to the investors. I felt my
Mm-hmm.
team, I felt my co-founders. My co-founder hired me in the initially, right? So like he made his bet on me when he promoted me to the co-founder. I was thinking about all of those what ifs, and they were brain.
Okay, and so, but why did you close the startup? What caused it?
I'm thinking about it until today, and I
Mm-hmm.
think this podcast is a very great opportunity to reflect. I'm very grateful for you. A combination of the factors, some of them were the most logical one. We are ending our runway. We talk with a few of the investors, but we don't see a strong enough outcome. And we didn't talk with enough investors to see strong enough outcome. Being tired, being very exhausted. The reason why I have those three rules that I mentioned in the beginning right now is because back in time, I didn't sleep, I didn't eat, I didn't work out. The biggest nightmare for me when I was a founder was to fly because I had anxiety by sitting for so long because I already didn't have a great circulation of like body and everything in my body. And I was dying on every plane. Like my health was in not a good place. And I was sleeping for so many hours after we closed this just because my like whole body had to recover.
Wow.
So definitely never put yourself in this position because if I would probably have more energy, I would find a creative way to solve the
Mm-hmm.
problems we have on the plate. But actually, you really can be burnt out.
Mm-hmm.
And the last reason probably would be something that before starting, we didn't have a conversation with my co-founders about how we would treat this moment. And I felt like all of us had this idea of let's distant, let's miss each other a bit, and then we will come back. And it's the same as you make a pause in the relations. You're never gonna come back. So I think if we would all like stick together, we probably could go through this as well. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
sharing all of this good, not because I wish that it happened right now, but because if someone goes through this right now, I
Mm-hmm.
would actually just like have this extra dinner with all of your
Mm-hmm.
co-founders.
So
And
you went like didn't talk about it. You just like decided to close the company, and that's it. So you just like.
it was natural. It was like step by step. We had a conversation in which we assumed that it might happen.
Mm-hmm.
Then, from if or might, it starts to be used more stronger words. And in the end of the day, the pause, like we didn't close the company immediately. We just made a pause. And then someone was like, should we like deactivate it? And we just like, yeah, let's
Wow.
deactivate it. Yeah.
So you just like deactivated it in like silence.
This is very like the first thing that I'm happy that we didn't have any argument. We
Mm-hmm.
didn't. I'm happy that living this experience. I don't believe that you can have a bad co-founder experience because I didn't have one, and I think it's not the.
I had.
You see, I think this is something that is going to be on the back of your head when you're going to co-found your next startup. You will be much
Mm-hmm.
more cautious.
Sure.
I'm still this naive child who's going to just like jump in the partnership, build something, try to release, trust enormously. But it was very similar to how you would break up with someone you like still love in a way that you really want to make it work, but you
Mm-hmm.
kind of a bit tired to find the way to make it work.
Mm. Yeah, it's true. It's like, I know, it's completely different science how to build a relationship with your co-founder, how to like even yeah, if it will get to like tough points, and you need to like close a business and yeah, move different directions, you need to like yeah, for sure have this conversation. So and yeah, decide like what we're doing next. So for me it was we just yeah, we were burnt out as well. We ran out of our savings. He took the full-time job in office. So it was his decision. And at that point, I was like fundraising as a crazy. And I just felt like, yeah, it will not work out anymore. I can't, yeah, run everything by myself. He was like amazing developer and CTO, but to have this co-founder mindset, it's different. Like as a co-founder, you will do everything you need to make your company succeed, right? You will force the floor in the office if you would need to, because you're a founder and you just like own it. But yeah, it's so hard. At some point it was great. At some point we even got to like delete our whole platform, and then we recovered it. And yeah, so it was back and forth, but yeah, it's a great experience.
It's a wound, right? I do feel
Yeah.
like it's a wound somewhere there. I think every startup is like a kid, like a first love to you.
Hmm.
And many people asked me when I just started, like, "Oh my God, you became a founder. How did you have a courage?" And I think if you become a founder, you always were supposed to be this
Hmm.
person. You were created to create something. And when you create something, you immediately have an emotional connection to this. And yeah, this is one of the reasons why I'm surprised that people from corporate world become founders, because it looks like it's very different mentality.
Do you have any system in place how to fail smarter in your next projects?
That's a really great question. I have a non-direct meta level answer, and I hope it works okay.
Yeah.
But I think great self-awareness is going to help you fail fast, because sometimes you will realize that for your personality, you don't even need to fail fast. And you always see whether this failure aligned with your trajectory. And for all of this, you need to know who you are, why you're on this planet Earth, what is your sole purpose. And in this case, I think you will really don't even aim to fail fast. Oh, will it's so circumstantial. I can't even make a case out of it, but being self-aware.
Hmm.
And the answer how to be self-aware, if this is the follow-up question, I just wanted to finish this train of
Hmm.
thoughts. Probably in the best case scenario, start with your childhood. Like, make sure that you will ask your kids questions about what they feel, how they
Hmm.
think. My
Hmm.
parents asked, I'm so grateful to them for this. And later on, always have those checkpoints, because know that it's your responsibility as a human to know who you are. Don't delegate it to anyone. And then you will go much more easier with the failures, because you also won't have feeling that you failed in front of someone. You
Hmm.
won't have this, oh, people looking at me. You will be like, I'm looking at me. I know what I'm doing. I trust my fundamentals.
Cool. About the book, do you have any like favorite phrases from the book?
I have them written. 1 second.
Sure.
Quite a few of them. Probably not only quotes, but like three main messages.
Hmm.
The first one was about the open heart surgeries. It was just in the beginning of the book, and it was about how many people had to die during the open heart surgeries until they get into the final result. And I
Hmm.
think that when you work on some project, think whether your failure is already a result as well, and whether it contributes to the future successes. I think
Hmm.
it's something that makes your failure much more noble, and you just like, yeah, I just was a part of the innovation and progress.
Hmm.
And even if I'm not the one who get there, I was the one who contributed into this.
Hmm.
And the second one would be the phrase that started one of the chapters, and it was about only those who dare to fail greatly can ever achieve greatly. That means actually be fearless,
Hmm.
fail a lot, and
Love
one
it.
day, hopefully, you probably get there. It's Rob Kennedy phrase, and it made me think whether the success is even replicable, or it's just a luck. Just try
Hmm.
many times, just so the percentage of the success is higher in your case. Yeah, and I'm sure, like, many takeaways people can read, take their
Hmm.
own, but I would stick with those two.
Yeah, my favorite is the failures is a stepping stones to success.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you so much. It was really great and deep conversations. I have the last question for you. So, what three pieces of advice you can give to the founders who right now are going through like this struggle of like deciding to close a startup or not, to give it like second life, to pivot, like what to do? Like, yeah, what is this like 3 pieces of advice?
Stop talking to anyone. Be in the silence for 24 hours. If you have nothing on your mind because you're tired, sleep a bit, go for a walk. The only person who knows the answer is you. And this silence will give you the needed emotional neutral state of mind, like zero state, when you can actually move and decide what you want to do. And the second one is don't have external pressure to make you decide what to do. And this pressure can be even something you think your parents think about your project right now. You're, for example, in your late 30s and you think your parents have some. No, just actually you can check and they probably don't have those thoughts. And you are the one who self-sabotage yourself in this moment. So definitely became like we are already in this century when you can become free mentally. And the third tip would be it's not going to be a tip, it's going to be a promise. You will be a very happy person regardless of your decision. Don't put too high stakes on it, actually, even if it's a serious startup.
Thank you. Love it. About the self-sabotage, I have one very great book about it. It's called The Mountain Is You. Recommend everyone to read it or listen
You
it.
see it here right now, I guess, right? Somewhere is going to be a screenshot.
Thank you so much for coming, Xenia.
Thank
I
you
really
for
loved our conversation. And yeah, thank you.
And I loved that you helped me to close the story with my startup today. It's 1 year after, and it almost felt like I was a psychologist.
Oh, thank you.